Alright, so I did Impact, and now it's time to discuss Raw and SmackDown, the WWE's 2011, which I will begin by saying was a pretty good year. Not going to make any excuses for them, but I figured what I'd do is look at the last editions of Raw and SmackDown and see how they pertain to the year, and then give probably a smidge of advice on what I would do and what I think 2012 will bring. Some of my observations. So, here we go! The show of Raw starts with CM Punk's music, change of music. It was the summer of Punk. I think he had T-shirt of the year, he had promo of the year, he probably had match of the year, or was involved in all of those. His promo leading up to Money in the Bank made me want to get Money in the Bank. But that was one of maybe 5 that I actually purchased and pay-per-view wise, and I saw, I guess, 2 additional ones. I know I saw their latest one, TLC. So they did a good enough job of getting me interested. But I really enjoyed Punk's, everything that he did from his match at WrestleMania and that build up and kind of telling that story. And who would have thought that at the end of the year, that guy would be WWE champion, be one of the top faces, if not the top face of the company, and at the same time is now getting ridiculed because of the ratings, which I'll cover at the end. I gotta say it was his year. And if they want to retell the Austin McMahon story, that's kind of a hard story to retell because Austin McMahon, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin and you had Vince McMahon, the owner of the company. John Laurinaitis is no Vince McMahon, but and he's a guy that, at least on the microphone, and mind you, I've never heard a kind word said about this guy. I mean, all the people that I know, no one's ever told me anything positive about him. But again, he's the reason people get future endeavored, or at least he passes that information. So there's that behind the scenes, but, on camera, I mean, he makes Michael Cole seem entertaining. And Michael Cole had a hell of a year. He went from being a broadcaster to probably single-handedly causing issues as far as burying certain talent, and you're hoping certain talent just buries him. But he's got the power of being on the microphone, and he is more entertaining than John Laurinaitis. But anyway, we start the show with those two, Punk and Laurinaitis, and this is supposedly the match, or, the feud, which, I don't know. Everyone's got their opinions on how they should have handled Punk, his return, the summer of. For me, blood money's money, and I probably would have sat out. If I were Punk, I would have sat out. A little bit. I'd understand, well, I don't want to do, I don't want to play ball with you, but you know what, he could have played ball with them and done some indies, or just showed up places, not actually wrestled anywhere. And kind of did what he did for that week that he was not part of the company, I guess, or in negotiations. I probably would have held out till the Rumble, because I liked what he was doing. I liked how he left. I liked the State of Flux. They could have still done this State of Flux without him there, and then he comes into the Royal Rumble and kind of, I'm the champ, and I will face whoever the champ is. And it not necessarily has to be John Cena. He could have done something magnificent and kind of told a really good story. But, the story that they told, it just seems rushed. The stuff with him and Hunter, excuse me. The stuff with him and Hunter, the stuff with him and Nash. Nash is one, like, I hear the guy failed the physical and still got a job and still got paid, and I don't know, more power to him if he can get the money, but man, that's spots for some guys. Anyway, I need to hurry up. There's my little rant. But like I said, Money in the Bank was pay-per-view of the year, and I like CM Punk as champ. I do. Unfortunately, they're putting him with John Laurinaitis, which I guess is the natural thing, because my thing would, and I've heard this from others, is if Punk would do a good job of helping the other talent get over. Now, mind you, he can be a great mic guy, and if other guys can't match his wit, which if you had Steve DeMarco, I'd match his wit. I wouldn't fear him on a microphone. Pipe bomb. Is it a pipe bomb when you tell people it's a pipe bomb? I'm just saying. You put your dues. I'll talk to you later, Mr. CM. Punk. But anyway, I digress. Like I said, awesome stuff all around. But at the same time, they made up this gauntlet thing. And, they have to do it so that they're going to have to find a definitive challenger for Punk and for his title. And if it's Ziggler or if it's someone, Ziggler probably would be a good guy to have. And I'll get into that guy, I'll talk about that guy in a second. Anyway, I wonder who's the prophet. Man, I wonder. I'm real curious. They show it a lot. I like how it's coming in during the show. I'm curious as to who it is. If it's Jericho, great. If he's coming after Punk, if it's Brock, wow. Could you imagine Brock showing up on January 2nd? He just retired from UFC. I'm not saying that he's going to. He's probably taking some time. But wow. Could you imagine? Or Taker. But in any incarnate, whoever it is, it's interesting enough. They built it. I'm interested. I want to know who the hell the prophet is. Booker T, Cody Rhodes. At the C, Cody Rhodes is a future world champ. IC champ. Beat Mysterio at Mania. His feud with Orton was kind of his coming out party, I think. More so than his Dr. Doom persona, which that was my impression of it, especially when he faced Captain America, Mysterio's Captain America. Captain Mysterio at WrestleMania. But, he's brought prestige back to the IC strap. I wish he would defend it more. But this feud with Booker should be pretty good. It's a good way of building Cody to the main event by utilizing a guy like Booker, who at this point in his career, and I think he's at the same point, he's looking to transition to something else. So yeah, I like their feud, especially the stuff on SmackDown. I thought was really good, really well done. Made me interested in the next chapter. Especially with the infusion of Goldust, even if it was for that one time. Talking about nostalgia, watching those guys and having Cody and Dustin. All you need is Dusty Rhodes and as mediator. But I'm interested to see Booker T and Cody. I think they did a really good job on Raw, so I'm interested to see where they go with it. And we do get some Booker T chants. The crowd was good here, man. They really were. You got Cena and Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder champ, proof that social media and the internet and YouTube works. Well, at least it worked for Zack Ryder. Woo woo woo, you know it. I guess maybe I have to say that in order for people. No, we won't talk about it. But anyway, yeah, U.S. champ had a good year. Yeah, man, I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with Cena kind of being that guy that's facilitated him to a degree. It helped him in some respects. As far as with the mainstream crowd, although he's immensely over, I'm not going to take anything from Ryder. Ryder went from not being on a show to being U.S. champion and having a great match at TLC and really finishing out the year pretty well. So yeah, Jack Swagger was a former world champion. Do you know Dolph Ziggler was a former world champion? They tell you, but do you recall that period of time in wrestling? I barely remember that. But I thought Swagger winning the Money in the Bank was a good deal, and that, his title reign wasn't horrible. Although it seemed kind of botched. Ziggler's the workhorse of the year. That guy has improved leaps and bounds. I think a lot of his stuff on the Zack Ryder YouTube show worked. His promos got better. You felt like his confidence was there. And he's a solid guy in the ring. Bumping his ass off, man. Gotta hand it to him. And then, there's the whole thing with Big Show and shortest title reign, 45 seconds after a 9-year waiting for it. I mean, Daniel Bryan not only won Money in the Bank, again, making the Money in the Bank pay-per-view like the pay-per-view of the year. He had, I was thinking back when him and Henry main event at SmackDown cage match, I was like, man, what a difference a year makes. If you had told me at that point, if you had told me at the first of the year that would main event of SmackDown for the world title in a cage, I would not have believed you. And yet, here he is, world champion. And I don't care if it's rushed, I don't care. Hallelujah, man. I remember when that guy was wrestling with a mask and wrestling with Spanky at TWA. I mean, I went to like one taping and I got to see him wrestle 3 or 4 times. And then, the American Dragon Man, kudos to him. Kudos to him. You know, for all those that said, you know, were complaining when WWE let him go, which, again, they had to let somebody go, and maybe that was all part of the plan, and who knows, you know. They had every intention to bring him back, obviously, and he's gotten a pretty solid push, and he just has to make the most of it. I think, I like cocky Daniel Bryan. I like this thing with him and Show, and him kind of being a little more cocky, and like the thank yous, he wants thank yous. I mean, pretty awesome. But yeah, I have people complaining about Daniel getting fired, and now look at him. World champion. Kudos, man. You, Punk, Ryder. That picture, there's a picture on Facebook of all the champions, which will cover all the champions in a second, but I was like, wow, it's changed. The dynamic of the way WWE's trying to do stuff, and it's sad that the ratings are bad, and now they're looking at like, well, should we not? And again, I'll cover the ratings in a second, but man. Even Zach, hey look, Tyson Kidd gets TV time. You know, it strikes me as really odd when a guy is well respected in the back, everyone seems to want to work with the guy, and yet he doesn't get a push, and you wonder why a guy like that's not getting a push. Especially a guy with his lineage, you know, where he comes from, where he was trained, kind of the history of it. You expect bigger things. Not just to be a guy that's a good hand. Which good hands are good to have, but it's proof that you can be a good hand, but if they don't see something, and it sucks because I find Tyson Kidd's work really solid, and I like the fact that he was with Natalya in a tag match, and you know, Eve, I felt she was really much improved, and you know, the Natalya thing, I like the pin-up strong thing. I heard about Caitlyn joining the group, and then they didn't want to push the trigger on that, and I think that's kind of a shame, because I thought those three, that'd be great. Like, no Beth Phoenix on either show. I was kind of confused. I guess my question is, you know, this at the end of this match was, when do people turn on Zack? When does the internet start turning on Zack Ryder? How quickly will that happen? I'm wondering. I'm wondering how quickly the internet fans will turn. Because, I mean, they seem to have turned on Punk to a degree. Some people have. Some people like it. But, again, the ratings, everyone's reading into it. I'll cover that in a second. Cena Rod, greatest hype in wrestling recent history. You know, another great moment. The whole thing with The Rock. You know, he hosted WrestleMania. I think he must have been thinking of me being a host of shows. I'd done it in 2009. I hosted a whole slew of shows. And 2010. I mean, I can host. You know, if you need a host, Vince, I could be your guy. I might not be the most electrifying man, but I wouldn't have to be. I wouldn't cut a monologue, I don't think. I don't know, maybe I would. It depends. What writers do I have? But I think it's been a great build. That whole thing, and it needs to be a great build, and it's going to have so many twists and turns, but at the same time, I think some people are like, well, it's kind of anticlimactic. We know this is going to happen. I think of the Hogan-Rock WrestleMania 18 match, which amazingly, WrestleMania 28, go figure. You know, you had Icon versus Icon, kind of similar to this. Two guys who, you know, Cena's a little different. He's the modern day Hogan. Yeah, I'm going to say it. He's the modern day Hogan. He works hard. He is the company guy. He's the MVP of that company. You know, you could say, you could make arguments for a lot of guys, but Cena, top to bottom, this whole year has done nothing but putting guys over. He put over Punk. He put over Alberto Del Rio. He he's just been the guy having to put over the Rock to a degree all year long, and he's the company man. The company man. I see so many shirts. You know, again, CM Punk might have shirt of the year, but this guy is the MVP of the year because he's the reason that we cared so much. That promo with Punk was that he was directing it at John Cena. If he'd been directing it at Randy Orton, we would have complained because people were complaining at WrestleMania about that build. But yet, the thing with Cena is like, man, if you can feud with that guy and you can go with that guy, you've proven yourself. Guys who can go with him usually get some kind of reward. And, I can't sing enough of the praises of John Cena. And that sucks to say because I know internet fans don't like him, whatever. Look, I watched the show and I'm okay with it. Remember when Miz was WWE champ? Remember when Miz started out the year with John Morrison having match of the year? Probably, everyone talked about that street fight or that Falls Count Anywhere match, that first match of 2011 between him and John Morrison. And people said the sky was the limit for both guys. And then the end of the year, John Morrison is not there, and Miz is kind of relegated to putting over Big Count. Now, mind you, he got to put over The Rock, which I would have loved to have been the guy. And I thought Awesome Truth had potential, yet they didn't really utilize them to their full potential. They made them so that they could put over The Rock. Now, mind you, Truth got caught and whatnot. But Miz, man, really stepped up his game on so many levels, proved that he deserved to be a top guy. A lot of people have complaints ever since he won the title. But hell, man, he won at WrestleMania. Like, that is a feather in your cap. You won the main event at WrestleMania. And I think his feud with Truth is going to be awesome. And, I got to hand it to Miz also, a great way of getting counted out. Cutting a promo, man, way to go. So, yeah. They now are putting out a DVD of matches of the year. Just pay-per-view matches. I mean, to put out a whole DVD on just the top matches. DoJo had a banner year. Two-time WWE champion. And I understand people's complaint. He won the Royal Rumble but didn't beat Edge. But again, Edge, last match of his career. WWE felt like paying Guy homage. And really, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have gotten Christian as World Heavyweight Champion. We wouldn't have gotten the Christian Randy Orton feud. We wouldn't have gotten Alberto Del Rio winning at Money in the Bank. Another reason the Money in the Bank pay-per-view was pay-per-view of the year. Cashing it in. He having a stellar year, man. And it's sad that him and Punk's thing didn't go a little bit better, and Punk kind of blew him off, so to speak. Like, I've been told when you do promos, and I've always followed this, is that you never diminish the other guy's skills. Now, you could say the guy's uninteresting, doesn't have a thing to say that really interests you, but at the same time, always putting the guy over, like, yeah, man, this Destiny stuff's pretty lame, but you're a hell of a competitor. I give you credit where credit's due. You've done this, that, and the other. You're great. You did what I did. So how can I fault you? And he kind of did that, but then, some people say he buried him. So anyway, I do like me some twin magic. Bella Twins. Woo! Yeah, and let's see. Ziggler gets the chance to steal the show at the beginning of 2012. He gets the chance to be in there with the WWE champion. Probably to start the show, I would think. And again, he gets the chance to steal the show. He gets a chance to become the WWE champion. Against, somewhat controversial WWE champion. And again, he could have match of the year, the very first match. And become the greatest star and live up to everything. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. I said workhorse of the year, most improved, this, that, and the other. But I said the same thing about John Morrison. Now look at him. Oh wait, you can't see him. He's not even talking to anybody. So yeah. The main event of the show was a talking segment, and if I was CM Punk, man, Okay, I understand. Cena, Kane, you're bringing Kane back. He wants no one to rise above the hate. He wants everyone to embrace the hate. And Cena sucks. And they are now selling t-shirts that state Cena sucks. And this whole thing of turning Cena into a heel, and my thought is, if you want him to turn heel, he's going to have to lose to The Rock at WrestleMania. I don't see it happening, and I know I shouldn't say that. I don't see it happening. I see him winning because I see a lot of similarities between his matchup with Rock and Rock's matchup with Hogan. If they're really, figuratively, literally passing the torch to this John Cena guy who's going to be there for years and years to come, okay. I'm okay with that. Because Cena is the WWE. For better or for worse, he is the representation of what WWE wants. Ideally, I think he's Vince's probably his most ideal guy to be world champion or WWE champion or champion of the company or face of the company or this, that, and the other. So yeah. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything from the SmackDown show real quick. Ord might be out for a while. Let's see. I'll start the show. Yeah, I covered that. DiBiase, Mahal. Man, now they've repackaged him in less than a year. And DiBiase, I could say the same thing. Does social media work for everybody, though? I mean, the DiBiase posse. Drew McIntyre, what promise? Man, that guy, the chosen one. You're the chosen one. Like, if I was in a ring, kind of like Elijah Burke. Remember that guy? He was going to be the face of ECW. It's like when Vince McMahon puts a seal of approval on somebody, that guy is doomed to fail. And Drew has such promise, man. But I did like what they did with him. His match with Ezekiel told a great story. The commentators actually were telling a great story. Cole was being really informative. I mean, he was being really informative this entire show, so I think it's proof. Again, Cole had a great year, and you want to see people hand it to him. And now it might be he's the cause, or one of the causes, or one of the factors of why the ratings are so low, because he's not done a great job of building up the talent. But at the same time, that talent could do just as much of point out what he's saying. I would love it to see Daniel Bryan take him to task more than once where Cole can't say anything. But really informative, and their match was good, and this whole thing with your jobs are on the line, I think that's a great thought for 2012. Fox, Caitlyn, I like me some Caitlyn. Booker's giving Alicia Fox some pointers. He's telling people. I wonder how Charmel feels about that. Natalia, Tamina, nice super kick, better splash. Where the hell's Beth? King of the Ring DVD, brilliant. They should bring it back. On that new network, they should bring it back. Air it on the network. Build it up. From now until 2012, like, do a mass. Everyone's involved, unless you're a champion. Everyone who's not a champion is involved in this tournament. Make it like 64. The 64 best, kind of like March Madness. Oh my God. There you go. There's your idea, WWE. You don't even owe me royalties just yet. Profitless, I can't wait until Monday. Brian AJ, oh, how cute. Cocky Brian can work. I think he can. The beard really sets it off, the nice smiles. Show changed to a rematch with Otunga. Why? I don't understand, but it's totally good story. Santino could have been MVP if not for Cena. Yeah, I said it. Remember when Justin Gabriel mattered? Think back. Okay. Hunico Camacho. I mean, Cole really showed his informative side and his love for the Hispanics. So I look forward to their tag team title chase. Hunico and Camacho. You know, WWE's been doing this network commercial, 2012, hyping it up. Which reminds me that if you haven't seen the Dubstep Wrestling remix from DoJo Productions and Behind the Curtain Best Of, you should check it out now. And really, you just have to like type in Dubstep Wrestling. I could give you the link, but come on, just Dubstep Wrestling. Above, search, somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. It's there. It's probably on my profile page. I know it's on my playlist for Behind the Curtain. Again, the network better not fail. Better not tank. Too much riding on this. Too much. Everybody needs to be cool with it and really support it, because it could be like ESPN. And I know now they may not think there's enough footage, but you know what? There probably is. There's a ton of footage out there. Sheamus, Hornswoggle, Heath Slater, could they be the guy? Could they be the ones? Someone's going to win the Royal Rumble. Bryan's show, first SmackDown of the year, I think Bryan's going to retain, much like I think Punk's going to retain. Unless they're really about pulling the trigger. But let me ask you this, WWE, is Ziggler and Show the answer to the ratings problem? Is moving CM Punk to SmackDown the answer to the ratings problem? Is getting Brock Lesnar to come in because he's retired, coming in and facing Taker at 28 and upstaging The Rock so we could see Rock Brock 2 or 3, no, would it be 2 at SummerSlam? I wonder. Anyway, profitless. Did you notice that faces smile and heels scowl? Or good guys smile and villains, heroes smile, villains, well, they scowl. Orton, Barrett. Could Barrett be the guy? Could he win the Royal Rumble? Could you see him and Daniel Bryan for the title at WrestleMania? Could you? But they had a great finish. No ref, and he's dead. So he might be out for a little bit, but I'm sure he's coming back at some point. I don't like when commentators point out the flaws. I don't like when promos point out flaws, because the whole objective is to build up the product, and part of building up the product is getting everyone over, and that includes the commentators and promos. It's like shooting somebody and saying, "Oh man, you're not that talented. Why are you here?" You're just not helping the company. Because the company should be the top thing. I mean, that's where everybody wants to be. So, let's see. I'm going to run down the champs real quick. Kofi and Evan Bourne. I thought they were really starting to commit some time to the tag team division, but then Evan got caught, and now they're afraid to pull the trigger, and I think that's a waste. You could really do something with that tag team division. You could really do something. Even if you just did it on SmackDown or Raw or both. I mean, that's a storyline in itself with the belts. Beth Phoenix. I felt like I liked the pinup strong style, but the build-up was lacking to a degree. Plenty of redundancy, plenty of the same matches. I think not having Karma hurt them. Hopefully when she comes back, her and Beth. That's money, I think. Zack Ryder. Fans listening, WWE finally listening to the internet fans, and yet ratings suffer. They decline. What do you people want? Why are they declining? Is it the casual fan they don't like it? Why don't they like it? I like it. I like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. I like the champs. I like me some Cody Rhodes as Intercontinental Champion. I just wish he would defend it more. I like his evolution over the year. Daniel Bryan, like I said, didn't see it coming. Did not see it coming at the beginning of the year, and now look at him. And then CM Punk, man, 2011 was his year. It was his year. 2012. Real quickly, keep doing what you're doing. I hope the network really works for you. I would not pull the trigger on any title changes anytime soon. If you can do it with Cena, you can do it with these guys. Feed these guys because they do get a reaction within the arena. And don't be afraid of what happens. Don't be afraid to fail. If the ratings tank completely, are you gonna lose your time slot? No, you're not. You're not. There's no competition for you. None. There's not. You could sit there and point to me at UFC. Well, Brock just left. And who knows, maybe he'll come to WWE and prove that he wanted to be here all along. Or maybe they don't need him. I don't think they need him. They got The Rock. They probably got Austin in a year. And even if they don't have those guys, they have enough of a collection of a roster. I think they kind of need to cut the handcuffs from the guys and let the guys actually cut promos. And if they can't cut promos and they can't do it, go to promo school or whatever, who cares? If they're not willing to put in the time, the effort, and if they're not going to make you money, why keep them? There are plenty of guys out there throughout the independents, throughout the world that would make your product better. Or the guys that you got currently on roster, probably at FCW. I'm sure there's a couple of guys there that could move up. There's a couple of gals up there that can move up. At the same time, I don't ever like matches thrown on the pay-per-view. I don't like talking segments. I understand you've got to do commercials now, but when did I have to pay to see a commercial? I shouldn't. I'm already watching the show. You've already got my money. I don't know. I like them when they're events. WrestleMania. I like the Money in the Bank because it came out of nowhere. SummerSlam catches my eye. Royal Rumble catches my eye. You do a good enough job of building each thing this year. When it was a gimmick thing like TLC, and even though the matchups like Kevin Nash and Triple H ladder match on paper looked like a nightmare, and it came out to be a decent show, decent match. Who would have thought Mark Henry's year would have been quite the year that he's had? He went from kind of an afterthought to the most dominant heel in the last little while. I liked what they did at SmackDown. They're building a lot of guys for 2012, and I think now's the time to see which guys are going to really capture and step up, like CM Punk likes to say, and be the next Zack Ryder, or be the first two ever. Where's the Seth Rollins? Where's the Dean Ambroses? Where's some of those guys that you bring in? I would still try to scour the world for better talent, but at this point, everybody comes to you. So, and they pay to get seen by you. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, I guess. I can't complain. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I know it was a little lengthy, but that was a lot to cover. It was 2 shows. I hope everyone has a happy new year. I'll be the first to say it, not the last, but happy new year. I hope your 2012, if it's already come about, I hope that it started off with a bang and in a good way. I hope everyone's safe. Enjoy yourselves, be safe, enjoy your 2012. You know what, just enjoy your life, enjoy wrestling. I always tell the fans, man, I tell anybody, just enjoy the ride while it lasts. I mean, we can be critical. Every show's got its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, man, wrestling's not in bad shape overall. You got TNA, which is struggling, but God, I mean, maybe they've turned a corner. If they could only figure out what their identity is. And you got WWE, which is the big, bad monster, and no one's going to touch it. And you could sit there and tell me UFC, and I'll watch an occasional, I watched the last UFC fight because Brock Lesnar was on it, and because the build-up for it was great. And because I could watch it. But I still love the theatrics of wrestling. I've got to, being who I am. And on top of it, you got those two, and you got Ring of Honor, who's doing some stuff. And, I mean, there's some indies doing some stuff. So, just enjoy. And if you haven't subscribed and whatnot, please do. People, have not heard of the Lucha Lounge or Behind the Curtain, please feel free to educate them. They will not be disappointed. I don't do disappointing stuff. So, again, any feedback you can give me, great. Otherwise, as I always like to say, especially on New Year's, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. But if you're partying it up with your friends and your family and you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying your stay at the Lucha Lounge, well, hey, you're doing all of that anyway. Later.